Hello, everyone. My name is Seraphim Himes, and today I'll be discussing my QI project entitled The Impact of Multidisciplinary Interventions on Transfusion Practices. Over the past 5 years, the Oklahoma State University Transfusion Committee has been evaluating the transfusion practices in our hospital. Appropriate transfusion practices are critical for patient care. However, improper use of blood products can lead to complications and mortality. In 2020, the Oklahoma Blood Institute contacted OSUMC about the high usage of blood products and the need to improve transfusion practices as a means to maximize limited resources. In 2021, the OSUMC Transfusion Committee implemented multidisciplinary interventions to address improper use of blood products and blood product wastage in the hospital. Interventions sought to educate blood bank staff as well as nursing and resident physicians across multiple specialties. These interventions included educational seminars, grand round sessions, practice MTP drills, and standardized documentation. This project aims to evaluate the effectiveness of these interventions designed to optimize transfusion practices and, in turn, reduce unnecessary blood product use and waste in the hospital. We conducted a single center retrospective analysis of transfusion practices in order to find and improve on the etiologies of blood product wastage and inappropriate transfusions, with the overall goal of maximizing limited blood product resources. This analysis looked not only at routine transfusions, but also at transfusions ordered per the massive transfusion protocol. So, what has our data shown? We can break down our results into two broad categories. First, total blood product wastage over time, which refers to those products that were discarded and not transfused due to factors related to improper processing and preparation. And second, total blood product usage, referring specifically to blood products that were successfully transfused. If we look to figures 1 and 2, we specifically are looking at blood product wastage. Figure 1 looks at the total amount of blood products that could not end up being used by quarter, starting with quarter 1 in 2021 through quarter 1 of 2026. It shows the amount of wasted units has increased per quarter over time. This isn't the entire story, as the total amount of transfusions in the hospital has also increased. In order to normalize this result, we look to figure 2. Here we are looking at the percentage of all the blood transfusions that ended up in waste over time. Looking at the percentage takes into account the different number of total transfusions over time. This plot starts in January of 2024 and goes through March of 2026. The two dotted black lines show the points in time where we held educational initiatives to remind the medical staff of the most effective practices to minimize loss of product. Interestingly, since we have started tracking this data, there's an initial improvement following these initiatives, but over time, the percent that is wasted increases prior to another educational initiative. While this might be a multivariate issue, it could suggest that biannual and ongoing educational initiatives could provide a greater benefit. Moving on to figures 3 and 4, we were able to look at blood product usage. We compared our current benchmarks in the amount of transfusions in our hospital to surrounding hospitals in the Tulsa area. OSUMC is represented by number 47. These figures show us that we are showing a substantial decrease in product use from last year to this year. Figure 4 specifically looks at the amount of O negative use in the hospital from last year to this year. Here we are showing another large decrease in use compared to quarter 1 of last year. This decrease in product usage speaks to the success of our interventions set to promote proper transfusion practices in our hospital. By minimizing blood product usage and wastage to times when clinically necessary, we preserve precious resources. The comprehensive initiatives outlined in this project have resulted in improvements in appropriate blood product transfusions. Our findings underscore the importance of ongoing efforts to promote evidence-based transfusion practices and minimize the risk of adverse events associated with transfusions. In the end, it's not only about use and wastage and allocation of resources, it's more about patient safety. From this perspective, if we use the minimum amount of blood products necessary, there is less of a chance of transfusion-related complications such as TACO and trolley, ultimately preventing morbidity and mortality. Moving forward, the committee plans to maintain our educational efforts through grand rounds, interdisciplinary meetings, and practice drills to reinforce proper protocol usage. The Transfusion Committee is dedicated to identifying gaps in transfusion practices and equipping our residents and staff with the knowledge and skills needed to deliver optimal patient care. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my project.